Right, good evening. I'm Neil, VK3BCU, and I'm the net controller for the net on Tuesday nights through VK3RTV, which is, as I said, 8 PM every Tuesday night. And we do thank all the people that are watching via RF. That's great, we love that. And some of the people that are watching, Bob VK3BVR, Mark VK3PI, Richard VK3VRS, and Fred VK3ZAQ. They're the ones that have actually checked in. And we have 13 watching on Ian's YouTube feed. And I believe Richard has also got his Discord feed going. Not sure about Rob VK3IE, his BATC feed tonight. So welcome everyone. It's good to have you on board. This evening, first up will be Peter VK3BFG, followed by Peter VK3TLF, and then Peter will put it back to me, and then I'll call in the stations on RTV2. So get ready everyone to go across to
We had the dreaded black screen there for a while. We've certainly got a few things happening up in Mount View. Turn that off so we don't get too much feedback. Today, Dennis, VK3YLH, and myself went up to Mount View and we changed the 1246 meg receiver to the only old style one I've got left now, and that's been successful. We did that because we had problems with ports down audio. The new model combo wouldn't pass that audio, so we had to go back to the old one. The good news is though, we've been also testing the Hello box on 1255, and that one is passing the ports down audio okay as well. So that one's passing DVB-T, DVB-S, DVB-S2 and ports down. So we've got some backup there, which is pretty good. We also pumped the power up a bit. About half of what gave us nearly 150 watts. So it's got a fair bit of gain, that amp up there. So we backed it off from there a bit, and it's running maybe about 125 watts now. So it was down a little bit, and hopefully people like Rob TRX, who's not in the greatest of reception areas, might be able to receive now, which is the idea. So yeah, that's what we did today. There's probably a little bit more work to do now. We've got some gremlins again in the system. I'm not sure why the splash screens haven't got audio, but there it is. You go up there and the gremlins hit us. We don't do anything to that part of the network, and yet we've still got a problem. So it is fairly complicated. Still need some help with the train and hobby show. That's on the weekend after the long weekend in March, and Stephen George has contacted me, and he's going to be available late Friday if we're still there setting up, and also to bring some additional equipment to fill up the space with something that might be interesting. So thanks for that, Stephen, if you're watching, and I'll be certainly back to you when we've got more information about when the Friday thing is happening. Also, John, VK3ATV, you're going to be sorely missed at the Train and Hobby Show, that's for sure. But if you could send me a copy of the QR reader that you have, so I can print off some of those as you had around the place, and people who are interested, all they have to do is click on that QR reader that will take them to the Amateur Radio Victoria website, which is a really good idea. So thanks for that. And I'm going to put on the video. I don't do it very often, but some of you have seen it, and I'm sure some of you haven't. It's a very raw one. It's not really edited in a professional way, but it gives you an idea what's up at Mount View. So stand by. Well, we're outside the hut and tower at Mount View, so we'll have a quick look at the antennas. Right up the top is the transmit antenna. See there, it's phased dipoles. And then if we come down a little bit from there, you can see one of the panels there. There's three altogether. All right, we'll come through the door and have a look inside now. We're just in front of the RTV rack, which has a glass door. Plenty of room and the trays there for DVT receivers in the near future. Then directly below the receivers, we have two monitors, one for when someone's not here. At the moment, you can see there, we've got the local transmit enabled. Down the bottom here, we're indicating RF power. And over here, I have a TV set on the wall with a strong 2 micros, pick axis. And here we've got the pins for DTF control. 2 video meters and a couple of voltage monitors there. You can see the local switch is activated at the moment. In between the 2 controllers we have the HD media player, which feeds both RTV1 and RTV2, so we only have one of those. But we do have a second controller for RTV2. It's exactly the same as RTV1, and in fact it can be run on its own, as can RTV1 run on its own. At the moment it's slave to RTV1. Similarly, if needed, we could slave RTV1 or RTV2. Both controls are absolutely identical and configurable either as a slave or as a master. Below that we have the SR Systems exciter, and there's a small PA in there as well, which runs just a watt or 2, or even less actually, I can think of it, because behind that we have a Mitsubishi module which drives the final PA. Next down is the PA controller, and you can see that here it's got a temperature alarm, a VSWR alarm, and a high voltage alarm. And you can see that the transmit key is enabled at the moment. The VSWR detector is currently under maintenance, so we don't have that protection on it at the moment, but that will come back shortly. Finally, we have a very large heatsink which hosts the 500 watt PA, and that's the little temperature probe, which is one of those maximum sensors. And yes, it's held there by paperclip. Below that we have two tangential fans which are feeding air directly up through the fins and also up through the rest of the rack as well. They're throttled back. They're capable of a cyclone, these things, but they're throttled back. And then below that we have the 12-volt power supply for the Mitsubishi module and the plus or minus 12 volts for the controllers. And right down the bottom is the 50-volt power supply for the PA. Now around the back of the rack, this item here is the DVT filter, which sits on the output of the PA. The back of the rack is, well, it's impressive, I guess, in one sense. To the front, there's lots and lots and lots and lots of interconnection cables. This is due to the fact that the whole system is modular. In a perhaps more professional arrangement, all of the units might be all contained in one rack. But we built the system up piecemeal and the connections as a result of that. Up the top there you can see the Raspberry Pis, at least one of them. And of course that's connected directly to our internet connection. Well, we're outside the hut and tower at Mount View, so we'll have a quick look at the antennas.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you, Peter. That was really interesting. Really enjoyed watching that. Malarkey like I have done, where I've used DC-DC converters in and out of mismatched lithium batteries just so I could use them. So it still works. You lose a bit of efficiency doing it that way, but it is possible. So because I'm doing it. All right, so move on. So this is another version of LG's battery. This is the rack mount version of their battery pack. These you'll see these in battery racks. They'll have like 10 of these in a big stack with a controller at the top and things like that. Both these batteries talk on CAN bus for their management, and so you can with these batteries, the way they work, when you turn them on, if they don't get a keep alive signal on their CAN bus, they'll shut down in about 10 minutes. So people say, oh great, got a lithium battery, you turn it on and it's like, no, it keeps shutting down on me, how am I going to get around this? Well, there's a solution to that. Now, I'll show you the prototype that I made. This is a Raspberry Pi with a RS485 converter, I think, from memory, to talk to CAN bus. Yeah, that'd be right. And so I, with credit to the, there's a person on the internet as a GitHub thing that wrote code for a to talk to these LG units, but he wrote it in C++, I think it was. I wanted to run it on a Raspberry Pi, so I had to rewrite the whole thing and write it in Python. That was an exercise, trying to translate between Python and C++ with the CAN bus re-encoding and the weird ways it does things. It was a challenge, but eventually I got over it and got it working. So you can see here I've got a couple of LG batteries there. They're fully charged pretty much by all the blue lights across the front. The left-hand light's just the power, just to tell you the thing's turned on. And you'll notice down on the bottom of the picture that there's a link cable between the batteries. The link cable talks its own language, and there's a separate port for the CAN bus. That's why the Pi is plugged into the right-hand port on the front of that particular battery. So if I move on to the next slide. So this is my program that I wrote. So this runs on a Raspberry Pi. If anyone wants to reach out, I'm happy to share the code for this. It's just running on Python on a Raspberry Pi. I think it's Python 3. And then it just talks through the Raspberry Pi through the RS485 converter to the LG battery. And it sends out a keep alive. I think I set it for every 10 seconds or maybe 30 seconds or something like that. It might be 30 seconds because I didn't want to send too much traffic on the CAN bus and then compromise the data coming back, because the data coming back across the CAN bus is all the things you see on the screen. So voltage, the amps going into the battery, watts, I think watts might have calculated, I don't think it actually gives you that, temperature of the battery, state of charge, state of health, which is actually the health reading that the LG BMS controller in the battery actually reports back to you. Charge time, I did a calculation based on how far it was from 100% state of charge. Now, personally, I never charge these batteries to 100%. I don't go over 90%. So I'd rather be a bit conservative and have a much longer life. And I also don't discharge them less than probably 15% as well. So I'm pretty nice to them. So I'll get a really good cycle count out of them. So yeah, so that's my presentation for today. You can also use there's other batteries. There's why I looked at this is I was looking for a cheap source of lithium batteries. I'd played the lead acid game. Ugh, I got so sick of lead acid. I hate those things now. They are just so inefficient. The round trip efficiency is absolutely woeful. You can't discharge them less than, what is it, 70% or something like that without them starting to degrade. It's just ridiculous. So lithium batteries is a completely different animal. It's more like a capacitor than a battery. The round trip efficiency on lithium is something like 95%, so they're extremely efficient. And the one thing I was going to mention too about connecting different batteries, or even connecting lithium batteries together that are the same type, be very careful not to connect them together if there's more than about 0.4 volt of a difference is probably the outer limits. Because when you connect them up, lithium will just give and give and give. It'll give everything it can to try and bring those two batteries into balance. So you do have to be very careful, and if I manage to trip one of these batteries out at the bank, sometimes I have to wait a day until the other battery then comes around in its cycle to where the other battery left off, if something goes wrong with the keep alive or the Pi or something like that. But yeah, before I can reconnect them into the string. So just be aware of that. Be very careful of that. These batteries all got built-in electronic fuses in them. The LGs also have a barrel fuse as well. So if you get one, then you find that it's actually not working. It's possible that someone's managed to blow the barrel fuse. I had one that I got from somewhere cheap, and just the barrel fuse was blown on the inside behind the cover. Replaced that, works good as new. It was that was all the problem was. So yep. And there was a recall on some of these batteries as well, so do be careful to check the serial number and see if it's part of the recall. And if it is, then as long as it's legitimate, then they will give you a free replacement. So, but yeah, just be careful. Make sure it hasn't already been replaced or something. But yeah, I think that's all I was going to mention for now. But yeah, this is a source of lithium batteries. So if you want to do your backup power projects, or even if you want to have like these batteries, the one in the pictures, they're 5 kilowatt hours each. So you want to have a nice big fat portable battery in the car. Here you go. This is a good cheap source of getting them. There's other ones like Samsung and Solex and things like that. The LG ones, it's really easy to get emulators for the keep alives. This is one I just made up. I wanted to on a Raspberry Pi because I wanted to be able to control it and monitor it over the network. But there's other ones you can get that are just modules and have displays and so forth that aren't network connected. This one, I've got I wrote a web interface behind the in the Python as well, so it then dumps out HTML, so I can monitor it remotely and so forth as well, so which is quite helpful. So yeah, all right, well I'll call that for now. I hope you enjoyed it, and thank you for watching, and hope everyone has a great day. This is VK3 TLF signing off.
Well, I've just lost my camera, so I had this fault earlier today. I've got a HDMI line issue, so what I might do is put it across to you, Ian, if you're ready to go, and I'll correct the problem I've got with my camera, and then hopefully I can come back with a little talk on solar power, seeing Peter's been talking about backup batteries and stuff like that. So Ian, if you're ready to go, if you could please get ready, and I'll drop off, and so stand by for Ian. Hopefully I'll come back with a camera on the next over, so it'll be Ian.
There we have it, 219 nets from Mount Views. So great work there by all concerned, especially Peter and Neil. And tonight I've decided to set up in my test laboratory circa 1980s, 90s. It's a historical installation. Probably it could equip stuff within about 1/10 of the space with about 10 times the accuracy today. and for 1/10 of the price, I would imagine. But that's all guesswork. Anyway, I just waffling on here. Let's. The first cab off the rank is Wansac. What is it? WARC. WARC. The Werribee Amateur Radio Club Hamfest from last Sunday, a couple of days ago. So this is the shot from the stage. And yes, so that's a scan of the floor, and it was a good turnout too. And it's amazing who you can run into, as we shall soon see. Faster than a speeding train. There is Frank, VK3ZO. So yes, it's very hard to keep up with Frank. He whizzes around. No problems at all, and it's a beautiful venue. The guys did a good job. A kiosk, air conditioning, plenty of room, polished floor. What else could you ask for? A lot of ATVers were there too, and good time had by all. And of course, being a hot day, you could pop next door to the Water World installation or activity there, attraction, and cool down, which some of the attendees did. So yep. So well done, guys, and most enjoyable. Right, so the next cab off the rank is Alara. The 50th anniversary program has been released. It is for July, obviously late July, as the dates say. There's a big program there, but registration is essential. So I suggest you look up the website and check it out if you're interested. So 28th of February, not long to go, 3 days for registrations on the 50th anniversary program of Alara. A great milestone for that group. Right, the next cab off the rank is ISS. That's beautiful, some great range of dates. Over 35 dates are passing over Melbourne, so up until in the last 4 or 5 weeks there's only been 20 passes over the 7 days, but this week we've got a bumper issue, as they were. I think the wind has changed and has directed it a bit more over fair Melbourne.
Have you tried the repeater in the sky recently? Let's have a look at the International Space Station passes for Melbourne over the next week.
VK3MQ, VK4 Echo Mike. VK4EM, VK3MQ, good on your move, nice to work you again. Bit strong signal there, VK4EM, VK3MQ. Roger, Rob, good 7, good 5 by 7 here, good to hear you, 73s. 73's move.
Yeah, VK3MQ, good afternoon, Rob. VK3EJ.
Yeah, VK3EJ, VK3MQ, good on you, Damien.
Right, that should have stopped. I'll just go back a bit. The packet. Someone pointed out to me at the Werribee Hamfest that some of the soundtrack that I've been using was in fact not packet. So I did a bit of an audit, and that was quite correct. It wasn't packet, but it actually was Tor. It's a derivative. I actually remember selecting that because it sounded more interesting than the harsh realities of the packet system, packet audio track. But anyway, so today I've played. Yes, it was creative license, a bit of talk back there on the back channel. But I've relented and stuck to the real McCoy, as it were. So that's a bit of point of explanation, I thought there, and I won't mention who picked me up on that, but Greg certainly knew his stuff. Right, here we've got the website for the BATC, which gives you information on how to receive ham TV, and as we're progressing into this year, we are hopeful that that will be up and tested and commissioned very shortly. So that's the thing to be thinking about for the next couple of weeks. Right, so the next thing says I can't read the. Oh yes, the next Hamfest. They're thick and fast at this time of the year, and it's in I think is it next week? Let's see. Yes, 1st of March. So it's next Saturday. Saturday is. The Northern time, returning after 12 months. And it's a lot closer to Melbourne than usual. In the past, I believe it's been out near Healesville. It's at Mirrabbark, and that's half the distance from me in terms of time to get there. So that's the information. I hope Saturday is the right day. I would advise checking that, but I think that's correct. So a lot of thanks. I've just got confirmation on the back channels that Saturday is the day. Next Saturday. As is often the case, the Troppo is firing up in the weather we're experiencing around southern Australia, and here's the next forecast for the next 5 days. So yeah, it looks very dramatic, and it gets more dramatic. So just watch it hitting South Australia and whizzing around to Victoria into Tasmania. So yep. Yeah, and even Queensland from our location, it might be a possibility. And of course, this is a forecast. It could be better. In reality, one can never tell. But anyway, I thought that was quite an interesting prediction there. And not only, and also is another opportunity to pick up some pre-loved gear and other goodies at quite reasonable prices. The EMDRC car boot sale is coming on Sunday, the end of March. So you've got one next Saturday, and then one at the end of the last Saturday of March. And this is always. I think this is the third one from memory, and yeah, they just keep getting better and better. But it's not only out in the car park, no entry fee for any of the areas, and even in the club rooms, which are very extensive. The club rooms are very extensive and very comfortable, and yeah, there's lots of stuff inside and out in the car boot section. Right. Right, now let's go for a quiz. Right, I've been messing things up here. I've been working on a new set of quizzes. So there's a continuation of this batch, and it's another what I call batch. I do them batches of 30. So yeah, it's always very interesting. It's sort of an automated process, but it still requires a little, a lot of work and make sure the answers are correct. I actually have got out of sync and nearly went to air with a whole batch that were incorrectly marked as far as what was correct and what was not. Anyway, waffling on here. I should proceed. This next run of three question quiz is a little bit harder, and I promised that to a few people at the Hamfest last Sunday, so I would like to run those, and if you've got any comments about them, most welcome. Right, all right, that completes my segment tonight. I'll be passing it on to Mick, VK3CH in Doncaster. So Mick will be transmitting this evening directly into the repeater, which is great, and I will run my outro with a list of stations that have been getting into the repeater. So here is the list, and I shall drop carrier at the end of this. Good night, and thanks for watching.
Okay, that took a little bit of a while, and we're sending audio. Oh yeah, after reports on the audio, or I'll probably watch this on the YouTube stream afterwards just to see whether it's improved. Alright, we'll get straight into it. Got a couple of videos here. The house next door has been... Hang on. Alright, I think that's with audio now. At least I hope there is. Let me just adjust the TV. Yes, I'm sending audio. Alright, now I will show you what the land looks like now. And now it's a finished deal. I should run some ground radials underneath all that dirt before they do the concrete pour. Get out better on 160 metres. Yeah, so that could maybe possibly explain why I'm getting to RTV a bit better. The house wasn't in the way, but there was a little bungalow at the back of the house, and just sort of part of it was in the direction, not a lot, but who knows, when they build the new property there, I suppose that might take them half a year, I don't know. Housing projects seem to be delayed these days, but depends who they know for builders. Anyway, we did the microwave activity day last Sunday, and here's just a snippet of the video of my very good voice contact with Nick. VK3BA, let's see, 118 kilometre path. So here we go with this.
Probably a tad closer, but I reckon I'll do the calculations when I get home. But I think today we're probably the furthest on 10 gigs there, Mick, over.
VK3BA, VK3 Charlie Hotel, King Lake Central. Yep, no worries. Well, I'm 43 k's north, away from the city according to Google Earth. Now, so this is my first contact with you on 10 gigs, once again with 2 metres of RG412 added to the mix, and I was very fearful that that might attenuate things a lot, but with today, apparently not, so that's very pleasing. So I'll be definitely documenting that in the newsletter. That was my biggest fear, you know, that this would knock 5 and 10 gig with the extra line, but that's the only way I can get the things onto the roof. No, good stuff.
Yeah, no, you've done well. I was wondering how that was going to go. 2 metres of feed line for the 10 gigs, so I thought that'll be interesting, but you've proved the doubters there, Mick, so you've done well, and you've got a nice quick to deploy system there now, very nice.
Okay, so there you go. In the video I said RG412, I think. I actually meant to say RG402, the thin, sort of shiny, silvery stuff. So the stations I managed to talk to or hear are Brad, VK3BKQ in Port Arlington, who's a new station. Nick, of course, Barraboll Hills, which is about 10 kilometres west of Geelong. Ray, VK3ACR in Sunbury. Rob, VK3IE in St Albans. Another Rob, VK3KRD in Glenroy. Andrew, VK3FS down at Mount Martha. Chris, VK3IK in Wallen. And Ed, VK3BG, also in Wallen. Now we do have some pictures here. Okay, I've got to click that to show you that. And, oh, we've got to do that. So there's the setup, sort of facing towards Rob VK3IE, not quite the city. So the handy thing there is there's no pager interference or anything on the microwave bands. There is on 70 centimetres at times, which is strange. I thought 2 metres was the victim, but no. And as you can see where the chair is, when I sit in the chair, of course I wasn't there because I was taking that picture, yeah, you're very comfortably underneath any microwave radiation. And it was quite windy. The video camera was placed so I could sort of quickly grab it with my hand if it was going to be knocked over. But with the 2 aerials on the top of the car, the very strong winds don't bother them at all. Nick VK3BA said his station nearly fell over in the wind. He had to keep his foot on one of the tripod legs just to make sure it didn't come to any grief. I had the car battery disconnected and everything was running off that. At the start of the day, at about 10 minutes past 2 when I was set up, it had 12.8 volts on that battery. 2 hours later, when we were finishing for the day, with the camera going continuously, the radio's on all the time, it dropped 0.2 of a volt down to 12.6. So very happy with that. All right, if you can see the mouse in the picture, around there is the city. It's a CBD, 45 k's in the distance there. And VK3IE, Rob and Nick was sort of over in that direction, hence that's where the dish was pointing at the time. When I talked to Ray VK3ACR, I just get him to point at the city buildings and his signals reflect off the city buildings. All right, what have we got there? So it's just a side view of the dish. And very handy, the bits of thread that stick out the front just help it to stand up, you know, when you're not using it. And the bits of the thread at the back help you, you know, it doesn't crush any of the RG402 when you're transporting it. What I find is you can grab the thread at the front of the dish and turn it very granularly, so it makes it easy to go sighting. Okay, what have we got? So yeah, that's just the camera pointing at me, and that's just the inside from the operating seats view. So I'm going to fashion up some better hooks to hang the microphones on. And my frequency chart, I've screwed that down now with screws, the sticky tape. It was flapping about in the breeze a bit. So we've corrected that. The Old Timers newsletter was arrived in my letterbox today. So my article on the presentation that I gave at the Old Timers at the last meeting, there it all is in glorious colour, as opposed to the grayscale printed edition which came into the letterbox today. So I'd say all the people that are members of the RAOTC, you'll probably be getting your newsletter very soon. So that's just yeah, my article that I wrote about getting into microwaves. And crazy as it is, that no longer exists. It's all installed in the car. So this article is already out of date. So yeah, it's all inside the car now. There's Peter Cousins working out the polarity of that panel, which got sold at the Ballarat Hamfest now. I'm just using a printed circuit board aerial just to keep the weight down. There was a test with Rob VK3IE on 3.4 gigs in my street near Shoppingtown, and the printed circuit board that Neil used for his what 77 kilometre contact with Andrew VK3FS, which you can see on YouTube. That was pretty groovy. And yeah, my the ID 5100, which is already in the car now. So yeah, all that there you see, that picture there, well that's all installed to the car now so the wind can't blow it over. So there you go. So let me look at my cheat sheet. Yes, that was everything we're going to talk about. Don't know if we've gone over our 10 minutes, but there you go. So I'm dropping carrier. I think I'm handing it back to Neil. So yes, the pictures stayed up. I didn't see it drop out once here. So I might have to convince the neighbour to leave the land fallow for a bit longer. What I'll do is I'll tell the community it's a market garden. You can plant veggies in it. And yeah, they can take adverse possession. All right, catch you later, VK3CH. Hopefully, cheers. See you all next week.
Good evening, everyone. It's John, VK3 ATV in Williamstown. Thanks everyone for coming up and watching this week. Last week was a bit of a disaster, so it's great that you've come back and given us another go. Peter, 3BFG. I have signs here with a QR code on them laminated for you. I also have some larger signs for Amateur Radio Victoria, which I'll show you. So I've got two of those signs, and I've got folding tripods for those, or easels. So I will. We get a chance. I'll get a chance to come around and drop those around to you. Peter, 3TLF. Great to see you on the net, and interesting presentation. CAN bus is something that I've never played with, but fascinates me. I did work on a couple of cars with CAN bus issues. And one of the things that that I thought about was there's going to be a lot of cars that are 20 years old or younger that will be undrivable in the near future once the bespoke CAN bus modules start failing and you can't get replacements. Some of the cars you just won't be able to drive without all the CAN bus modules working in the car, and there's not just one or two. These days there can be. I think the Jeep that I worked on had something like about 12 CAN bus modules, which was a challenge to find which one was the faulty one, even with a computer. So being able to create a CAN bus emulator like you've done will be very handy in the future for the automotive industry. So yeah, quite interesting. All right, I've got one quick presentation tonight. There was a little bit of talk about radio paths to 3RTV at the swap meet last weekend. So I just wanted to give you a quick look at a free program that is downloadable, or you can use it online, called Radio Mobile. And I'll give you a look at what I've done to I actually did this originally when the repeater moved from Mount Linda to Mount View, just to see what my path would look like. And it's quite good. There's it can be quite complex to operate, but it can actually be quite simple if you don't go too far into all the settings. I'll give you a look at what this looks like, what the Thanks, Ian. I thought I'd click the audio to stay on, but obviously not. Okay, so this is a PDF printout of the result from my path observation from my shack, my QDH to RTV, and you can see there it hasn't actually printed out. RTV on the right hand side, but you can see the path there. It's actually showing up as red, and that's because I've put some values in there that are probably incorrect, because obviously I'm getting into the repeater. So you can see right in the bottom left hand corner it's showing green up to a certain point. It goes yellow and then red, so it gives you an idea of whether you can actually use that path or not. You might be looking at it saying, well, the direct line up the top has no obstructions, but there's the Fresnel zones which the ground affects quite significantly would be causing that to be difficult, and also I've probably got the the margin of the path set a little incorrectly as well. Now I'm going to try and bring the screen up a little bit, so you can see there's the data you need to put in: antenna heights, transmitter powers, what type of antenna, the gain of the antennas, the loss of the antenna feeder, those kind of things which you probably would know on your shack and would be easy to find out for RTV. So you just enter all those in, and then it gives you this plot, and that's the path which, as I said, it hasn't printed all the way across. I probably used the wrong size paper for the PDF print, but that it shows you the path all the way across to RTV. You can also do the reverse, fairly simple. So this shows you on the left hand side now is RTV, and the height at sea level and the height of the antenna above ground added together, and that's a fairly clean path from RTV to my location. So if you're looking to work out whether it's possible for you to have a reasonable path, then it's a fairly good program to play with, just to see if it's going to be possible, and it'll also tell you what kind of power you might need out of your transmitter. A couple of things that I haven't put in there is receiver sensitivity or noise floor of the receiver correctly, but there are plenty of amateurs that will be able to give you more technical information if you need to enter that. But a worthwhile little program, considering it's a free download. It's well worth having a play with, particularly if you're having difficulties with getting in. I know a few of you have obstructions in the way. You can play with this. You can play with antenna heights at your location. You can play with transmitter power levels. You can play with antenna gains and see whether it's actually going to be possible for you to get into RTV. Of course, the simple way to determine that is normally, if you can receive RTV, you can transmit to RTV. That's all I've got for tonight. So thanks everyone for watching. It's great that that the repeater, there was a bit of a scramble there at the start, but thanks to Peter Cossins, we've got the repeater up and fairly steady. And just a final note, Peter, TLF, a nice, good, steady picture from you for your presentation as well. So well done. I know it's difficult to get on air, particularly getting new equipment to function. And well done. All right, I will put on my thanks for watching, and then we'll be back to Net Controller, Neil, VK3 BCU.
Right, thanks for that, John. It was really good. I should download that program myself. It will help when we go out on the mad days. Next week I'm going to talk about the issues I've been having with my upgraded solar system, which has been recently installed. I recently upgraded to more solar cells, more power, and there has been an issue with the emergency backstop that's been introduced just recently. But I'll talk about that next week when the issue is resolved. Mick, watching the demolition of that house brings back really bad memories for me, seriously bad memories. Just recently, my parents' house was demolished. It was where my original shack was, where I first started getting into the repeater, probably over 40 years ago, when I watched my house being demolished exactly like that, including my old shack, and from being torn apart by the machine there, and then a flat bit of dirt, which is what I see at the moment when I drive past the house at the moment, or where the house was. In Nidri, there's just a vacant block of land, exactly like you showed. So very sad, but it's progress, and that's where I grew up, and it really brought back memories, but it was good stuff anyway. Okay, thanks for watching, everyone. It's been great. We still have 18 watching on Ian's YouTube channel, so thanks so much for watching. We'll see you all next week. Cheers.